reports of, Elon Musk drug use. Some Tesla shareholders are concerned about that. Tesla workers, management types. Is this something you worry about?
We know Tesla very well, many people within Tesla, and Elon as well. And I can tell you there is no more serious and focused executive in the world.
Do you support that view? If it isn't you, it doesn't work out, and it's Donald Trump, that they're going to go elsewhere?
I mean, look, I would take Donald Trump over Joe Biden any day of the week, but I'm going to make sure we don't have that option.
You've done a story about this.
I certainly have.
Have you done a story about this?
We've talked about the slowing price trend.
Have you done a story on the decline in grocery prices in the past 3 months?
They're not declining. You're talking about the rate of increase is
-0.2.
No. You're talking about something over the last few months where the rate of increase has slowed. You're not talking about the food gains. You're not talking about the gas gains that are up double digit.
Even Walgreens is projected closing 2,700 stores, Neil, in the next couple of years. What happens to those local communities when they lose drugstores, when they lose restaurants, when they lose those jobs? This is far-reaching. It isn't about the businesses to me. It's about the families. It's about the people that are impacted by the loss of jobs and the loss of growth. It's a scary premise, Neil.
You know, John, that was one of the most brilliant responses to this whole inflation thing I've ever heard. What happened between you guys, you and Donald Trump? You used to speak highly of him, and he of you. Where did it go wrong?
I don't think it went wrong. I mean, if he, wants to go to dinner, he wants to have a drink. When he won't drink, I'll drink. We hang out. He's fun to hang around. He's got a great personality. He's charismatic. But I think he was a lousy president before. I think he'll be a worse president this time. It has nothing to do with personality. It has everything to do with ability.
A lot of people are going to say, the billionaires are calling the shots here. That's not fair. That's not right. What do you say?
Well, I wouldn't look at it whether they're billionaires or non-billionaires, but look at their knowledge and success. Whoever the Trump administration chooses for these positions, will be experts in the area, and that's what we want.
All right, we've had some doozies over the last year here on this show, talking to billionaires and real newsmakers, and we add to that pantheon today with a fellow I've wanted to meet for some time. Mohamed Mansour is the chairman and the co-owner of the San Diego Football Club. He's an entrepreneur investor, was seeing great promise in companies from Airbnb to Uber, to Twitter, Facebook, when nobody was. It made him a billionaire many times over, but his life story and what he's experienced, it wasn't all roses for him, including seeing his father's business growing up in Egypt destroyed by the government, and he came through some serious illnesses once again as a 20-year-old man, and he's back to remind us the drive is there, the drive to succeed is there, which is probably a good name for a book, and it's getting a lot of buzz. And I'm happy to say he's here to put it all in perspective. Mohamed, good to have you.
Great to have you. Thank you, Neil. Great to be here.
One of the things you relay in your book is just your own experience, of course, but the one thing that I was noticing, and we wanted to show some of these billionaires we were talking to a man or woman, they started out, and it was tough. It was very tough. Some lost fortunes, others rebuilt them. And I'm just wondering, how do you keep the fight going?
It's the drive, it's the resilience within you. At the age of 10, I was run over by a car, and I lay in bed for 3 years.
So 3 years? 3
years in bed. And
grew up in Egypt?
Grew up in Egypt. I mean, the medical profession wasn't as good as it is now.
Then the Nasser government came in. Right?
The Nasser government came in, and all I did at that age was think and say, I have to stand again and be able to move and be able to walk. So that made me ahead of my time, I read more, and I tried to learn more, and then I came to America. And because I wanted to come to America because that was the American dream. Elvis Presley, Ricky Nelson, all this, and I wanted to live that life. And it really built the man I am today. And then at the age of 20, when I was at North Carolina State, I had the bad disease of cancer. So I also had that resilience to live.
Very advanced cancer.
Very advanced, and at that time, this is 50 years ago. So today, here I am, healthy, trying to make a...
But you always had a knack for things. You were always curious. You didn't let any of these experiences, even as a little boy at 10 years old, ruffle your imagination or excitement for life and loving to read, as you said, and even as a 20-year-old, and then seeing what your dad went through and a very successful business demolished by the government. You had to start from scratch again. But you did, but you had an eye for value. You had an eye for trends that we might miss. And you caught on to some of these companies I mentioned, technology in particular.
Yeah, when technology has, been a mover in my life, and I invested in Facebook pre-IPO, Airbnb pre-IPO, Spotify, and many other companies. And now
Facebook was a bumpy IPO. Remember when it came in and then it tanked, and you stuck with that?
Exactly.
That was a good one for you.
Exactly. And then, but that was now we have our family office in the UK, and that's the sports. Sports is an asset class in itself now.
Yeah. Now you're Mr. Big Soccer in San Diego.
Exactly. So that's the new challenge. But it's a passion. It's something I love.
Did you play soccer as a kid?
Well, I played till I was 10, and then I wasn't able to play now because because I had this accident.
Sure.
But it's in our blood, and I love soccer, and I believe that the US, the MLS, will pick up. In
so you think it's going to be huge here?
I think so.
But England is your home.
Yes, England is my home now.
Okay, and one of the things we've learned in England is they threw the conservative government out.
Yeah, well,
in this country, we threw the liberal government out, or esteemed liberal. So I was wondering what you made of that. I've kidded in the past on this show that this year is defined by throw the bums out, who's ever in charge.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a big change. I mean, populism and government is changing, and in England we had the Conservative Party. I was the senior treasurer of that party for a while. And then now the Labour is in, and things are changing in the UK.
Yeah. And they're raising taxes now.
They are.
How's that going?
They are. I don't think it's going well.
Yeah. So it could just be a matter of time before they flip again.
Yeah.
What do you think of Donald Trump?
Donald Trump? Donald Trump, I think, is a leader, a great leader, and I think he's, from a business standpoint, look at the public markets in the last month.
Yeah.
It's up 14%.
Do you worry about tariffs? You're pretty good at international trade issues and the rest. Some people are getting a little scared.
This will, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, and because in your own autobiography, Drive to Succeed, you kind of spell out sort of a gospel for life, which I found interesting. But one of them that I love, and I've always told my own kids this, under-promise and over-deliver. My dad used to joke with me, stay modest, Neil, because in your case, it's going to come in handy.
Yeah.
But his point was, don't get ahead of your skis. Don't get ahead of let your ego do things. So when you work anything, I worked at a fast food restaurant. I know you had some interesting jobs.
Yes.
Just keep your head down, grind away, and let your performance speak for itself. That's a big thing with you.
That's the DNA. That's the DNA. And, under promise is, when we started with General Motors back in '75, I knew I could sell 100 cars. I would tell them I would sell 50. So when we sold 100, we over-delivered, and they say that guy's a good guy, and we increased with them and became a very large dealer in the world.
One of the other things you talk about is avoiding complacency. This is a very big thing with me, maybe because I grew up with a mother and father who were products of the Depression, and they would never like to see us taking things for granted. And I'm always reminded that do something different, be bold, just don't follow the crowd. You lived a career and continue to doing that. You never settle. But you're a billionaire now. You can settle. You can cool it.
I can't.
Really?
Can't, Neil. I can't really. It's always like me. Today, our investment with the MLS, it's a sizable investment with our partners, $500 million for the license.
That's pocket change to you.
Well, not really. Not really.
But you worry about that.
I worry about that. And it's, it's always doing something new, having a new challenge and moving ahead. This is what keeps me young.
You always say, try to turn adversity into strength. God knows you've handled adversity, but a lot of people, once they deal with adversity, they have to get through it, but it makes them gun shy. It really says, if I'm not careful, I'll get the disease again. If I'm not careful, something bad will happen again. It can work the other way. What do you tell people?
Be positive. Always think positive. I never think, the low side of the glass. I think positive, that things will get better. And when you think positive and you move ahead, you have that resilience and the belief in yourself that things will be better. It does.
All right. So what do you tell kids, your grandkids, when they look at the world very differently, let's say, than you and I did, right? I mean, many of them are putting off, getting married or starting families. They don't think they'll have the dream, whether it's the British or Egyptian dream, the American dream, but that it's unattainable. Is it?
It is attainable. I mean, if you have the drive and the insistence and the resilience to continue to move ahead, you will get ahead. And that's my true belief. And having good people around you, I mean, most of the management around me are people that are tested. I listen to them. I never sit at the head of the table. I sit at the side of the table. It's a teamwork.
Really?
I have more intelligence.
I like to sit at the head of the table.
Well, you're
that's kind of stupid, isn't it? You shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But I've heard that about you, and that you at meetings, you actually are the one who talks the least.
Exactly, always.
That's interesting.
Always. Because I always have more intelligent people around me than myself. So
Really?
and I listen, and then we form a conclusion together, and we take a decision and move forward.
I'm also told,
Teamwork.
I'm also told, Mohamed, that you're a very good judge of people instantly, that you can size them up quickly.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
At the age of 10, you remember I sat for 3 years almost alone. I mean, at that time, there wasn't, Game Boy and, all these kids have. So I was thinking, reading, thinking. So it gives you this edge to try to size people, understand people, and experience, of course, comes with it. So some of it is natural, and some of it is learning, and then learning by experience. And I never lived in my shadow. In other words, if I lived an experience and it wasn't good, I moved on.
And what I love about you, you're a few years older than I am, but you every day is a new adventure.
Always.
This whole soccer thing in the United States, San Diego.
And I love it. I love it.
Yeah. You can't relax, but that's probably a good quality. Very good seeing you. Mohamed Mansour, the book is Drive to Succeed. It's very uplifting. It teaches you what's possible. I always want to get copies for my sons so they could read the part about working. Kidding.